Brak the Yahweh Bashimi Hawashai, Brak the Yahweh Bashimi Hawashai, Brak the Yahweh Bashimi Hawashai, Bashim Hakodash. Double honor to the apostles and Elsewhere Millstone. Salutations to the Akim out there pushing this word in all sincerity and honesty. Shalom. This is Ecclesiastes 3, and I'm reading 1, and I'm going to jump to 8. To everything there is a season, and the time to every purpose under the heaven. Right, man. To everything is a season and time. And who controls these things? Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right? A time of peace, right, and a time of war. Which when you're dealing with the nation of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you understand we won't have any peace in this kingdom until this kingdom is destroyed and we're in the kingdom. All right? There's no way you could build a community in this place, which this is a place of bondage under this so-called white man's rulership. This is a place of bondage, man. The white man's heaven is a black man's hell. Okay? Or Esau's heaven is Jacob's hell. Jacob representing the 12 tribes of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Verse 8, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And some people, well, the majority of people will believe that this is a time, we're in a time of peace. You know, the only way you could preach about building a community while you're in the house of bondage, all right? The only way you could preach that the so-called white man could be saved is if you believe you're in a time of peace, okay? The prophecies prophesy of war, of pestilence, okay, and of the sword, all right? Now, if peace was to come, then that will mean that you were the prophets, okay? But that's not the case, man. We're in a time of war, okay? It says Ecclesiastes 3:8, a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. Right? We're in a time of hate, and we are in a time of war. Googled. This is from Google. All right. See? Google. Russia invading Ukraine. All right. Russia planning massive military. Let's go to it. This is the Washington Post. Russia planning massive military offensive against Ukraine involving 175,000 troops. U.S. intelligence warn. Okay, that's war. And this could potentially lead to the Third World War. As tensions mount between Washington and Moscow over a potential Russian invasion of Ukraine, U.S. intelligence has found the Kremlin is planning a multi-front offensive as soon as early next year, and the Kremlin is dealing with Russia, involving up to 175,000 troops, according to U.S. officials and an intelligence document obtained by the Washington Post. The Kremlin has been moving troops toward the border with Ukraine while demanding Washington guarantee that Ukraine will not join NATO and that the alliance will refrain from certain military activities in and around Ukraine territory. So in other words, Russia is basically dealing with Ukraine, and Russia is telling America, right, to mind your damn business, okay? Or this could turn into a Third World War. And yes, Vladimir does have the military might to take on the U.S., which he flaunts at any given moment. It says, and that the alliance will refrain from certain military activities in and around Ukraine territory. The crisis has provoked fears of a renewed war, a time of war, okay, a time of peace and a time of war. It says renewed war on European soil and comes ahead of a planned virtual meeting next week between President Biden and Russia President Vladimir Putin. So that's going to be a spicy, you know, conversation. Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hands of the Lord. The word heart is going into to the mind. It's talking about the mind. When you go into the Hebrew, the word there is lab. And when you interpret the Hebrew word lab, you get mind. The king's mind is in the hand of the Lord as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So there you go, man. The Lord does what he wants, man. And if he wants these nations to go to war, then so be it, man. These nations are gonna go to war, you know? And that's the Lord's will, because the Lord speaks about wars, man. And rumors of wars. All right? That's how we know the time we're in. Now I wanna do a little jumping around. This is a short lesson. I'm gonna jump from here, and I'm going. I believe it's Ephesians. I believe it's Ephesians. Anyways. Yeah. It says, it's here somewhere. It says, Ephesians 5:15. All right? Ephesians 5:15. It says, see then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. All right? And the key word here, which is a few key words, but the word we're going to look at is circumspectly. Carefully. The word circ goes back to circle. All right? When you're looking around you. And spec goes into spectacle. You watch. All right? And example of that, simple, going to check the news. All right? That's the New York Post, the New York Times, NBC News. All right? Check the news, man. CBS, CNN, Fox News, USC's signs, Russia plans, Ukraine invasion in early 2022. 2019 was spicy. 2020 things became worse. 2021, the pace picked up. 2022 was, destruction. All right? What's going to happen 2020, what's happening in 2022? I'm jumping the gun here. But what's going to happen in 2022, man? Destruction. All right? So the day of the Lord is near at hand. Look back to the scriptures. I'm finish it off. All right? It says, see then that he works circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. And how do you move wise? By following these laws, statutes, commandments, by seeking the Lord, seeking Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. All right, you seek the Lord, you fear the Lord, you seek Him, you seek to please the Lord by doing the works, and by doing so, your understanding is broadened, because you now to do the works, you got to study, you got to look into things, and you see the prophecies are coming to pass. You understand that, man. 2/3 of our people just ain't gonna get it. All right. Redeeming the time because the days are evil. Okay. Bad times, man. Bad times.